be a result of. And
So
okay,
probably
so um,
lack of
yeah,
vitamins.
so um,
Oh, yeah. See, there it goes again.
the one again. How about now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, there's a wonderful flyer. So he should have gotten the email. Matter of fact, I'm just going to check while we're on, see if he. If I okay, so what I mentioned in the email, if he's got like have any issues or anything, I left my number. He can call me. So oh my
I'm
gosh,
gonna. Did I send you his number? Because I was sending it to the wrong number.
yeah, sure, definitely. Matter of fact, I'm just I got to change this. It's actually episode 2 we're talking about. So with Eric Nouse. I knew I was forgetting something. The clear disc kit.
Ugh.
Okay. Ready. Okay, good. This should be. So yeah, so positive feedback regarding last episode. Everybody thought we kind of handled it. When we were talking about um, the incident, but clearly we weren't throwing anybody on the bus or taking sides. We were just, basically saying like what we thought we would do.
Hmm?
Yeah. So, um,
I think it would. Again, I kind of judge it by the amount of comments I get back or messages,
mm,
and I think it was very good. Like a lot of people kind of reached out and said, yeah, like they feel the same way. It's just like it's time to kind of like call a spade and stop the nonsense, right?
yeah,
And again, I think there's a big difference between calling people out or just saying, "Hey, I disagree with you," than just to slag them in the background.
yeah, I think so. Yeah. So yeah. I'm just changing this here now. That enables me to when it's running live. I'm just putting test run. For yeah, I mean, again, everybody liked it. I didn't get anything, not even critiques or constructive criticism. Everybody thought it was was well done. The chemistry, they liked the chemistry between us. That was mentioned. Um,
I think what people really like, Dean, is the fact that it's just a conversation, and
yeah.
I think that's the big thing. And that's if you hear a piano in the background, it's my daughter practicing her piano really
Oh,
loud.
okay.
But it's a test run, so it's okay. Um, I, I think that's what I really enjoy about these conversations. Like I said to you, it's like whenever you and I chat, even when it's in a podcast, I just feel like I'm having a chat with a friend. Like
Yeah.
I don't think to me this is not like a podcast. Like we're just having what I consider an honest conversation about stuff.
Yeah. And no, I agree, everybody I think kind of was looking at that in that regards as well. And yeah, most of the feedback I got was just how we handled it, how we didn't really take sides, but yet we just presented like what we like to have seen. Um, maybe how we would have approached it, and how we generally both feel bad that unfortunately there's still no reconciliation and what have you. But yeah, so it was definitely good feedback, and you've been very. So I have to give you credit because you got Eric Naus and Eric Paulson. You got the two Erics.
Yeah, I'm working on a bunch of people. Like that's a funny thing is like because I never really thought of. For me, I never really thought about myself as anything but who I. Like I'm just some knuckle dragger likes to stick fight, but.
But you
Um,
clearly resonate with folks. I mean, they came right on after talking to you.
and but I've also realized I've been around for like 30 plus years,
Yeah.
so I have I know some people,
Oh yeah, no, yeah, absolutely, and that shows definitely. I'm just
And
excited to.
it was funny when I was like, I sent Eric Polson a message. I'm like, hey man, like I think it'd be great on this podcast because you've been around for a long time
Yeah,
and you know a lot of stories, and that's what I'm really interested in. Is like I want to hear the stories,
yeah.
not the I went to the seminar and it was really awesome. I want to hear like the stuff like afterwards. Like we went to a party afterwards and things get out of hand, and you know I had a Serpa do a triple somersault and split my head open.
I had a
Like,
suplex. Yeah,
like to me, that's the cool stuff, right? Like,
yeah,
and a lot of these guys know a lot of the people that we knew that are not around anymore.
yeah.
Like the Larry Hartzells and whatnot, right? It's just like,
I know.
and again, it's not just it's about martial arts and life, not about just a specific type of martial art.
Yeah,
And
no, right. Yeah, I love the freedom of not just being boxing anymore, and not that it
it's
was torture or terrible, but just like I always, it's so funny. I got so glued, like I actually felt guilty, like, oh my God, this is not going to be really FMA related. Should I do this? And then that eased up as like my third year in. You know what I mean? But there was the first 3 years I was like, oh my, I don't know if I could do that.
it might not be FMA related, but I think the commonality within a lot of us is that we did some sort of FMA
Yeah, yeah,
or weapons art, right? And like that's the thing I want to explore as well is like different arts that are out there.
yeah.
Whether it be the Chinese arts, the Indonesian, and everything else.
And
And
we're going to be covering on here. Yeah, absolutely.
and just
Folks, if
having
you're
fun with it.
watching,
Like the fun part is like that. What really intrigues me is because it it's just cool to talk to people about life, and then
yeah,
the
their experiences, right? Yeah, and no, yes, and folks, even though this is a quote unquote test run, we're kind of rehashing last week's episode, the feedback we got from it. Um, even though Eric is not coming on a test run tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern time, Eric knows.
yeah, like we have like honestly like as far as I'm concerned, like one of the biggest people in the evolution of FMA. The guy who got people involved in saying, "Hey, let's go beat each other up with real sticks and not have any equipment on."
You know what I'm more interested? You know what I'm really interested in? And because I've heard story, Burton told me stories, but that after hours at the Anna Sound Academy, because that actually and I'm sure and other folks know, but there was the activity and where it wasn't construed as Dog Brothers yet, but yet collectively there were guys getting together. So there was like a pre-Dog Brothers grouping, which seemed to take place after I was at the academy. I'm really interested in hearing about that.
Hell yeah. It's funny to me because it's like, okay, so we're allowed to hang out here because we work here
Yeah,
and we're going to do some really stupid stuff afterwards, but we have to wait till until dad leaves the house sort of thing, right?
yeah.
And yeah, if you watch some of the videos, and the cool thing is when I was hanging out with Arlen or when we would hang out, I would see some of the unedited videos of them fighting. And I'm not talking like they would get together and like, oh, we have 3 minutes.
Mm.
These guys fought for hours and hours. And it was
Yeah.
like, my God, like the stuff that I saw, I was like,
I could just tell you some of the
I was
stuff
like
Bird told me
cringing. I was like,
after hours.
God, that guy shouldn't be
Yeah.
walking right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they were younger, injury free, but but Burton, just some of the stories coming from him. I mean, it like much to your point. I mean, this wasn't like them sticking around for like 30 minutes. I mean, this was like,
No.
um,
But the beauty of this whole thing was there was no malice behind it.
yeah, yeah,
There was, like malice in the sense of I'm going to try to hurt you, but no malice in the sense of like I'm trying to hurt you. I want to push you to your limits, sort of thing. And then,
that's that my questions. I mean, of course, and whatever we have to come up with questions, of course. But my questions, to be honest, the majority of them are going to be that pre-Dog Brother time. Like that's what I'm really fascinated with. Like how we went from kind of this experiment, science lab. I want to see if can we block full power shots and stuff like that, and how that transition into what we're seeing today, and how did that transition? You know what I mean?
And like again, like some of the videos that I saw, I would literally see them take drills and try to apply them in combat,
Mm.
and then they would like it just doesn't.
Oh,
I
doesn't
can't
work.
seem to get this work. It's like I can't seem to get whatever work,
Yeah,
and how that evolved.
and the gear, like the evolution of gear, like what they were using then, and what they well, hey guys, man, like man, that was a solid shot. And because he had a decent fence mask on, it didn't knock him out. Hence, we ended up in clinch. Like the evolution of well, we started to clinch and go on the ground because guys weren't getting knocked out. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the thing. So they had someone commission some crazy strong steel headgear, and what they realized is that people started leading with their face, and so they said, "This isn't working for us. So I think we should find something else." And I don't know
Mm,
which one of them did it.
yeah.
I'm guessing it's either Eric or Arlen at that point. Found some flimsy ass, like first generation fencing masks.
You mean the
And
one with the famous picture of me in?
yeah, and it's funny because no one really understands what I mean about what those guys did until they put that mask on. And like my mask is broken. Like it's just it literally is a piece of it's a screen to a door.
I just cannot believe that you actually wore that thing in full contact stick fighting against the hierarchy of full contact stick fighters. Um,
Well,
oh,
it was a
yeah.
when I in 2009 when I had my first training camp here. Um, it was actually funny because I was talking to a friend of mine who's also a dog brother in Vancouver, and Eric's class for part of the camp was like, okay, we're going to split the group into two. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a knife, and I'm going to give you guys a stick. Now the stick guy has to keep the knife guy away, and the stick guy gets to hit you as hard as they possibly can. Oh, and by the way, your masks, I don't like those; they're too strong. You have to wear one of these. And you could collectively see everybody go like,
I'm so glad I signed up for this.
but it changed it like to like it was insane. Like it was, I remember like again, like we did like the demo fight, which I ended up with like 2 broken ribs with. And I was like, my God, this is like the at that point I thought like, because I already thought like, oh, I'm in, I'm good. But damn it, like after that fight, I was like, man, I can't even imagine what the first few weeks were like when these guys were doing this.
Yeah, like that's why piggybacking off my interest in dial in like that after group, which was a precursor to the Dog Brothers, like what were the granted they weren't written, but what was the rules, like what was the mindset, like okay, hey guys, it's okay, yeah, we can wear obviously third generation whatever fencing masks, it's we're this is experimental, and that like what was the playing around rules, you know what I mean?
Well,
um
and again, this is just from what I heard and from the conversations I've had with Arlen and with Philip and the rest of the guys. Excuse me. They they got around. Sorry.
is that the buble?
They were like, what's that? I've gone to a stronger a stronger drink, which is really getting to me. They like everybody got tired of hearing the like if you get a hit in the arm, it's gonna blow up, and your kids are gonna be born with curly hair, and
Mm.
you know, and your ancestors will come out of the sky and tell you, you know, you were wrong. Like they just got sick and tired of it, and they said, "Let's see if this actually works. Like, what's it
Yeah.
gonna take to stop a person like me?" And it's just like the same conversations you and I have had about, you know, about self-defense.
Mm.
What will it actually take for you to stop a human that's actually trying to hurt you?
Right.
And a lot of the times, all your fancy crap, the Floretes and Abanicos and all this other bullshit didn't work. Like they might have been a setup, but you know, and that's when 64 attacks became 3.
The 32 went to 64. Yeah, and then yeah, I mean, right. I mean, like when I was playing around with you in the basement, you know, going with some of the guys, I beat the crap out of cancers. I'm going to tell you right now, Abinico was not in the arsenal. These guys are swinging lumber and they're swinging it. I mean, like, and this was beat the crap out of cancer. They say, well, yeah, we're not going to go full, but you know how that goes, man. You know, they say that, but you know, you get in there with another guy, man, and unless you really like, that's where Steve Sachs is really good. He can very, you know, as well as you. Some of those other guys, I'm just being honest, and I'm not saying it's not negative. I'm just saying it. You know, you start out that way, and before you know it, 30 seconds in, you know,
You're in a fight. Yeah.
yeah. But
Well,
my
like
point
even
being is when I was seeing those, you know what? I'm gonna do an Abanigo. No, that was not the way. Or Fronte. I'm gonna block that number one caveman coming at me.
you know, honestly, I have a video with like Tuhan Philip and I training, and I was kind of like I was kind of shitting on Abanicos quite a bit
Mm.
because I was watching some of the week half competitions, and it was like, oh, 10 points, 15 points, you know, and I went there, and it, you know, I was younger, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, and I was like, man, like this is all like I don't understand it. And he kind of broke it down, and he said, you know, the strike is one thing, but the weight transfer and positioning and everything else behind it is what makes a difference. And then he beat the crap out of me with Abanicos for like 45 minutes. But he understands the mechanics behind it. So he was like dropping his knees and like the whole
So was he
body weight
targeting your
behind it.
feet, your legs?
He was like smashing me like in the face and in the hands. But this is not just like Abanicos alone, but he was inserting him but he was using the mechanics behind it, which is again
So you're saying in combination, he wasn't leading off with it in
correct.
combination.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
he was using like, you know, like his body weight and just body mechanics to exert as much power as you possibly can to the tip of that stick, right?
You know what's
And that's what
interesting?
made
Because remember you were talking about this and that whole, yeah, like I'm coming here, maybe I throw a 1 and 2 and I drop, make an elevation dropping, you know, to the feet. Okay, yeah, all right, okay, you got backpedaling up, and I can maybe see that. My thing is, okay, here comes number one. I'm going to counter him with stepping off to my right, and I'll be no. That's my argument. But in combination, like you're describing, I mean, you know,
well, it's like anything, like even like low, like I love low shots.
mm,
And that's one of the things that Eric, you know, from a guy who's over 6 feet tall, who goes to 2 feet tall and takes out your knees. Yeah, with, you know, like just tremendous power.
those
And
poor
uh
kneecaps. Oh my
and I
god.
remember like I was at a spar day in Montreal, and Philip came up to me and he's like, you know, your knee shots are okay, but you're too upright.
Mm,
And I asked him like why, and that's one thing I love about Philip. He understands like body mechanics and how your skeletal system works, sort of thing. And
mm.
he's like, if you dip your knees down so you're coming straight down, you can engage your entire upper body to hit. And I was like, okay. Because
Okay. All right.
if you're just bending down
Oh,
to
you,
hit,
yeah. You're not going to be skeletal line. Yeah, alignment. Right.
and
Right.
I was like, okay, well, I kind of get it. And I was hitting a heavy bag, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I kind of feel something here. And then I went to fight someone else, and I just smashed this guy's knee out, and I was like, this works.
That's like those are the ones that make me just sick. Just having several knee operations, just seeing people's kneecaps just get. I'm just like,
Which, sorry, which knee was that?
oh, yeah. Oh, by the way. But you know what's interesting? David Gould gave me a use of Abinico, and I thought it was off recovery. He goes, so in other words, if I throw a number one and I miss, and I want to get back on center because I'm sure something's coming at me, throwing a tip, Abinico case something like that, and I was like, that is the best application I ever saw of Abinico. Like it just resonated with me. Man, I miss. I'm throwing this back like for recovery. I thought that was really neat. You know what I mean?
My recovery is always a strike back.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if it goes all wonky on the way out. It has to be enough of a threat to make sure that the person doesn't want to hit me back.
Yeah. Or they
And
know,
you
or
know,
at least
like,
they're offline. Yeah, offline. Right. No, no, no.
yeah, like I remember someone talking about, well, when you do fancy twirls and stuff, that's not fighting. My fancy twirls, if you want to call them fancy, they're my recoveries to hard strikes. Like when I put 110% of my body
Okay.
into it, when I come back, that's that
Oh, you're okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
or
Okay.
anything like that. Like even in Krabi Krabang, like when I strike really hard and some people see me twirl, I'm not trying to be fancy. I'm just recovering the weapon back into my primary position.
Interesting that you use that for. No, I think that's interesting. It's funny you used like you. I never had this conversation with you. Maybe we have, and I just don't recall about recovery. And I'm mentioning this. One of the things that David Gould instilled in me, and I never heard this lingo before him. I was just like, holy crap! All these years I had never. He goes, yeah, recovering, and he goes, recovering your center of mass, especially with edge weapons, staying on center, maintaining center, holding center, controlling center, never giving up center, not violating center. I mean, just center there, but always that like getting back on center, and that resonated with me, particularly in edge weapons, which is why when you see me my knife work, I'm not. Well, you see, I'm not. I mean, it's. I mean, just keeping on center, right? But I'm only bringing this up. I'm getting to the point here is that, much to your point, like that also certainly get applied with stick, throwing it back, the tip, right?
Yeah, it's important. I'm, God. Since last week, I've seen so many videos about stuff, and people have been sending me all these videos about like, hey, do you think I'm doing cosplay and stuff? It's like
You got to be
I'm not,
kidding me! You're becoming the
and I'm like,
metric.
hey, I'm not the authority on this. I just made a couple
No, but you
comments.
are though. You are now becoming. You are going to be the police.
No, because
I will ensure it. Matter of fact, our show will be we're gonna be putting videos on here, and we will decide if they're cosplay.
and then when people say, "What do you think?" I'll just do this.
No, you'll give the man.
It's
we'll be really popular, huh?
Oh God, yeah, that's what it's all about. It's like when I see people doing Carenza and they're doing like this, like, oh, this is how you move a knife around, right? And all I'm seeing is like
playing around in the basement. Yeah, Renee's basement, the famous basement.
Maybe we'll have to do the basement diaries of some kind.
Oh my God, the diaries of the basement.
And again, like I had to remove the sign, especially when my kids started learning. When my kids started learning to read and some of the things I had written in my basement on the walls, I had to like take it down because they're like,
"Oh my God,
Daddy, what does it mean? Come with an open mind or leave with a split head."
Yeah, that's not even rated PG-13. No, headshot for cosplay. Richard Parsons.
Oh my God.
So, folks, we got those of you watching. Eric couldn't do a test run tonight, but he is in fact coming on tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern time, and we're obviously
What?
going to be talking about dog
Okay.
brother related things. You got to. Oh, do you have an idea like what you're going to be, what you would like to ask of him?
Honestly, like I look at the longevity of his martial arts career,
Okay.
and for a man who's in his 60s, still competing, and like in BJJ competitions, like he's in there, right?
Yeah, no, it's incredible. Yeah.
So
Amok, Angelo.
that's what I think. Like that's what I love about Eric. And the other thing too is he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Like you think you meet nice
Wait,
people, like
on the field or off the field?
like he like I remember the first few times I talked to him on the phone.
Yeah.
He talked to me like I was like his best friend.
Yeah.
And then I didn't speak to him for several years. And then he spoke to me like we just spoke yesterday.
I know, but I'm not gonna forget what he said to you when you guys first
Oh,
met.
goddamn. Like that
I
was
am looking forward to hitting you as hard as possible. I
oh,
would have just
he
been like,
literally like he had his mask on, like just half on his head. And he's like looks at me and he's got a smile on his face. And he literally said,
"Ooh." I would have.
it's my duty, Renee, it's my duty as your friend and your brother to hit you as hard as I possibly
I would have
can.
been like,
And he put his mask on, and I actually think I pooed my pants as he said that. I
I
was like,
would, I would have came up with cramps. I'm just, man, like, I something.
and it just it kind of blew my mind because like, and here's the other like thing that was just like really funny to me is, like when I meet people, and I think I mentioned this before, when I meet people, I never understand like how tall or big they are until I see a picture of myself with that person.
Yeah,
Like
right. You lose, right? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have a picture of myself and Michael Tibbetts, you know, like Dogzilla.
Yeah.
And when I first saw the picture, I'm like, is that his kid? And then it's like, holy shit, that's me, right?
No,
I came to his armpit, you know what I mean? Like,
it's true. Like when I went up to Canada, like I knew Kevin Goat was not taller than me. I had no idea, like
he's a
how
big
much
lad.
bigger, like how much bigger. Like I go through customs, I'm seeing him cross the way with this grin, and I'm just thinking like, this is gonna be a very long weekend.
In 2009, I remember like I was setting up this training camp and I was chatting with Eric, and he's like, just like gun ho. He's like, man, it's gonna be so much fun. I
Yeah.
haven't seen some of these guys in so long. And he's like talking to me and talking. He goes, hey, Renee, I think you and I should fight. And I literally said, okay. And then just like after I hung up, I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? And then I picked him up at the airport, and he was like on the other side of the terminal. He's like, Renee. And he runs over and he gives me a hug, and my nose touched the sternum. And I was like, instantly like terrified. I'm like, I'm going to get killed. Like, this man is going to kill me.
I just, you know what it is, and this is why, like, I have such profound, as well as you, for Burton, because man, Burton told me like some of the like injuries that he's gotten. Like, I mean, and Burton loves Eric. I mean, Burton is a huge fan of Eric. Huge fan. I mean, they get along wonderfully. I mean, really good friends. But I mean, just fighting stuff and like, and Burton was around like, the younger, weighted, strong, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, and I'm just like, holy moly. So nobody can say crap about Burton, man.
Hell no. No, hey, listen, like, and again, of course, when it comes to all this stuff, like I'm always gonna support my fellow dog brothers and whatnot. But I'll say this: outside of Arlen and Eric, I have never heard that stick swing, like that woof sound. It was at a different decibel.
That's frightening.
And I feel really fortunate and lucky that I've got to fight both of them. And I got knocked out by Arlen, and like that was just, and it didn't look like anything. People were just like, "Oh, it didn't look like it hit you." And I was like, "It crushed my mask against my temple." It knocked me out cold. Like I had
That
no
was
idea where I
an,
was.
that's an enjoyable fight to watch. Like you guys just kind of squatted in that hole, and it's funny. I watched that like several times. Um, oh, by the way, those are the videos that I had to wait 2 months for, but no big deal.
Yes.
But and I had to watch it. I still to this, I got to be honest with you. When people say they didn't look a big deal, like I had to put it slow, like just to see, because if you watch it, it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell where like he nails you. It's
Let me
really
give you some context over this. So before that event and after that event, my friend Randall would grab rattan sticks and put them over his head like this.
okay.
And Arlen was breaking the sticks in half with a swing.
That's right.
So, and I'm watching this, and I was like, and then like because he said we're going to fight with pointy sticks, and I
Wonderful.
completely forgot to bring my pointy sticks.
Oh my God, that is
But,
just.
and even when people, I remember one person saying, "Well, it didn't look like you kicked him that hard." I felt his ribs on my shins when I was kicking him, and it was pretty intense. It was pretty awesome. But again, like it's I think what I love about both those guys is that they train in so many different arts.
Mm,
They've been around so many different legends in the martial arts, and the stories that they have is something that I would like to document so we don't lose it.
yeah, I mean, yeah, like at least it's archived or in this, right for reference. I mean, yeah, this could be. I'm looking forward. Yeah, this is going to be for a multitude of reasons. I mean, one, after hours at the academy, transition to Dog Brothers, early Dog Brothers, what manifested, what changed to what we're, I don't know, 2000s to now, like, you know what I mean?
Well,
Because I mean,
his athletic career prior to Dog Brothers, I think he was really heavily into football as well and everything, right?
he was a defensive end at Cornell and played lacrosse. So here's the thing: you're a defensive end, so you're used to running into people, you're used to tracking down people, and lacrosse, you're used to running with a stick. I mean, it was like, I mean, think about it, lacrosse, because I played lacrosse in college. Like you're used to running around with a stick. I mean, so.
I can't I can't tell you how absolutely terrifying it is to have someone beat you to your absolute limit, take off their mask and say, "That was fun."
Do you know what he said to
And mean
Burton?
it and be like totally cool with it. Like it's
Do you,
like,
know, do you know what he said to Burton after one match, like when they first met? So he goes to Burton. He goes, "Hey, do you mind if we use these?" And Burton's thinking, so Burton, being nice and just accommodating. Burton goes, "Yeah, yeah, sure." Because Burton's thinking like, "Okay, well, we're not going to go really hard because he's basically using clubs." So Burton's thinking this. So Burton's moving around, and Burton was telling me he is so lucky that the week before they were training from Regino Illucissimo, the hanging step. He goes, because Eric launched one and Burton, thank God, did this. And Burton's like, what is wrong with this guy? And so Burton said the only thing he could do against him was just blocking. He was just defending there. So at the end, so Eric takes off his mat, runs up to Burton, hugs him, and goes, "That was great. I couldn't hit you." And all that. And Burton's like, you
I hopefully I can get Eric to talk about that story when him and Arlen were in the tennis courts and they literally there's hours of them fighting. Like it's like back to back nonstop. And like they take breaks and they're drinking water and they're talking and I think Arlen got put down 2 or 3 times, like not like knocked out sort of thing.
He's one, but he knocked Eric down one time.
So this is where, and the part of the video is kind of grainy.
Okay.
And then Arlen goes, "It's kind of grainy because I keep rewinding it to this one point."
Oh yeah.
So you see them moving around, and this is like massive, just like boom, like it sounded like a baseball bat, and Eric hits the ground, and it was like
Jesus.
it, what's the guy's Tyson, the guy, like he just literally he's lying on his back. Uh, Eric's lying on his back, and he bends at the hips and rises up, and he says, "That's what it feels like."
Oh my God.
And then he stood up, and then they fought again.
That's so funny. Oh, so this is what this feels like. This is what I've been doing to people.
It's that's what I think
Oh,
is
that
awesome about it.
is wow.
And like this is like a really good opportunity for people who don't know Eric to ask questions about the
Actually, you know what? Folks, if you're watching this test run, put in the comment section what you would like us to ask them. Good. Like put in there and I'm gonna write down right now, and I promise you I will ask Eric.
And it'd
One
be
of us.
great to also hear like obviously they probably told the story a million times, but what made them decide to go that route? Like
The route
why?
from the after class to
Yeah, it's like, hey man, like we're tired of kind of breaking each other. Let's go find some more
that's
like.
what I got here. Like I want that transition. Like I want to know, like you just said, like what led to the first quote unquote gathering. You know what I mean? Or whatever they called it back then, you know?
Yeah. And again, for me, I'm being selfish because I want to document all this stuff. And also, like, there are videos out there of Eric Paulson and Eric Knaus working together and doing stuff, like stick stuff.
Yeah.
And Eric Paulson's like, that's another monster, right? Like, I'm like, how do these people connect? Was it through the Inosanto Academy? Like, well, what's going on? I kind of feel like it is in many ways. Like it was the Inosanto Academy at that point was a seed for lots of people.
If I had to guess, it had to be right. Like just the traffic that was going in and out of there, name dropping, it had to be right.
Oh yeah, but like all kinds of craziness. Like it's like yeah, like Eric,
Like
and I know Eric was also trained with Gahe at the same like at one point as
yeah, like
well.
when he in New York, well, him and Tom Bizio in New York were definitely they both were going to the Ivy League school there. I just forgot Cornell. So they were training with Gaia then. Now I'm not sure, and maybe we'll find this out tomorrow. I'm not sure if Eric continued when he was out west. You know what I mean? With Gaia, but I think that's probably why he went to the academy. I'm maybe assuming, you know.
Well, I think that like with I don't know, and maybe I'm just assuming this, but I think once they started getting into what they were doing, they started kind of looking at FMA and saying, "Wow, there's a lot of stuff here that we could render out."
Yeah,
And
that's the thing. Like not only that, but I think and you know better than this than me. But it seems like there were two things going on. There was okay, what is not coming out and real stick fighting, and what is the gear threshold? Like, okay, if we go with this mass, people are getting dropped. But when we go with this mass, people are not getting dropped, they're getting stunned. Like I think those two things, it sounds like those two things were kind of maybe going at the same time in that experimental mode.
yeah, like, and I have to go back just to the training camps that I had here, and from the training camps that were going on in Europe, I know that Eric's a purist that way. It's like if you want to fight or
Mm.
train with me in a sparring or exchange kind of level, you have to wear one of these masks. And I think I don't know, like I think there's something to that, right? It's like you have to evolve, and the only way you're going to evolve is by putting yourself in that kind of position. And like, listen, like even the other day, like I'm fixing my basement and I'm doing more stuff to it.
Oh my
And
God.
and I pick up, and I'm because my crap's all over the place, and I'm looking at some of the masks, and I'm like, there's that moment where you start going, I actually wear this, like I mean, like if there has, like when I go to gatherings or the times that I fought at gatherings with those masks on, I didn't even think about it, just put it on and kind of went out. And then now, all of a sudden, I don't know if it's because I've gotten older or maybe a little bit wiser. It's just like, holy smart, like this is crazy, like it's insane, and it brings this to a whole new level. So,
It's gonna be really. I think it's gonna be because I'm not. Well, I'm not 100% sure of this. I never seen, and this he very well could have been on one. I'm not. I'm just saying. I honestly don't know, but I never seen or heard of him on a podcast.
no,
You know.
no, there's a few things about Eric which are really amazing. Besides, like I said, he's like, I've never seen someone so nice be such an like a ruthless fighter, but he's like the nicest guy in the world. Like he literally is.
Burton. I mean, Burton. Same sentiment. You know what I
Like
mean?
there's been like the Eric and I used to chat from time to time. Then we didn't talk for quite some time, years. And then when I called him back, it was like we spoke yesterday. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of guy he is. And you'll never ever hear him talk shit about someone else, which is another like amazing thing.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I mean, that's nice to hear. Um, yeah, this should be good. Folks, again, please, I mean, send your questions to me or Renee. What you would like us to ask Eric.
Send him to Dean.
Then, um,
I'm like horrible with that. I'll be like,
what the hell
Eric
is that?
said.
Eric, Josh wants to know why you hit so hard.
Oh, it's gonna be really cool. It's like it's like part of like today was also going to talk about reviews and what's happening. Like I'm really excited about some of the people that are coming up. Like
yeah, and you got two big men. You got, well, let's not forget. Well, I think it's probably gonna be equally as fascinating is Adam. Right?
Adam is, these are the kind of people who are the real deal. Like these are the people who will tell you this is real cosplay instead of whatever, right? Like people who've been in combat or deployed like 8 times, and like he'll talk about his career, what he can talk about his career because he's still does a lot of stuff. Is going to be pretty crazy. Like we've talked about. I've approached a few professional boxers as well.
Oh, so, that would be. You know what I'd like to get on too?
Professional female boxers as well, and just see how their life is. I really want to. I want us to explore all aspects of martial arts.
Hey, Lori, hope you're doing well. Yeah, I want to get. Yeah, I mean, like I think between who you got and some of the names, I think we're pretty good through like February. But I would like to get Maya back on. Like she's written another book. I think that'd be awesome. Kind of neat, like getting her. I thought about like I thought we might not necessarily need a guest for this. I think me and you can handle this. Like, well, maybe we bring on a one. Well, you know what? Oh, Lori would be a good one to bring on for this one. Like, really dive into women's self-defense. Me and you, like, me and you both agree there's some aspect of where women's self-defense is weaponized. It's just where they're comfortable as far as the weaponization, right? The hierarchy, that, you know what I mean? But that might be, I think, again, I don't think we need a quote unquote specialist come on. I think we should just grab a female who can, because I think women's self-defense, it has to come from them. Like, who the hell are we to tell, like, well, this is what you should do, and this is what you should do, and this is what you should do. Like, they have to be part of the solution. I firmly believe that they have to be part of the equation. And so that might be a neat subject, bringing somebody on,
Yeah, it's just, it's definitely, I think the big thing for doesn't matter what self-defense course is out there, is there has to be realistic on
Mm,
what your capabilities are when you're dealing with someone who cannot afford to get caught. Like
yeah.
criminals, when they can't afford to get caught or they want to get caught, so that they're gonna, go that extra mile and what you're willing to do or what you have to do to defend yourself. And Christ, you're talking to somebody. I got jumped by 6 guys not too long
Mm.
ago, and there wasn't a lot of martial arts involved.
I know.
So, and I think that's the reality. And I think I'm seeing more and more of it. And I think last week's episode really kind of got to me because the more I started seeing things about people posting stuff, I was like, man, like there is just a shit ton of
Mm,
stuff out there, which is just dangerous. And one of
yeah.
the things I mentioned to you is I was watching a video of a guy moving around with 2 swords. And like they were like literally cutting themselves. It's like, where's your recognition of where your blade is?
I think it's this whole, yeah, we kind of talked about it last week at show. Like, there's absolute benefits to social media, 100%, right? If used correctly, positively, with integrity, right? Unfortunately, we expose the bad. Like, folks just want to get likes, recognition, and all that, but they're putting just stuff out there that's questionable. I guess I'm being nice. Remember, I'm the nice one, right?
Yeah. And that's with any kind of self-defense. We kind of touched on that with a lot of different stuff. I know we're kind of getting off topic of what's happening tomorrow, but
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that's being pushed out with like the firearms community as well, where it's like, yeah, you're a great shot, but that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
And
I
that's
find
where,
again is the inability, the ones I've experienced, or and I'm not a gun guy. I don't want to get misconstrued here and misrepresent the community, but the ones I worked with, none of them could draw under pressure. Not a single one could draw under pressure. Now, I'm not saying there's the ones out there that can't. I'm saying the ones I worked around with could not draw under pressure. You know,
and
Lori's, hey,
that's part of
Lori,
the
I think
conversation.
we got a female. I think Lori will do it. Lori, let me know if you'll do this.
It's like that conversation I had with Adam, like when he basically said, Renee, if I have to rely on my knife to defend myself, it means I'm already dead.
Because of the
And we're
world.
talking about people because he's, like in the middle of a firefight and you got 20 people shooting at you.
Yeah. Understand the dynamics go more from the fort. Yeah, again, we talked about this, Catherine, right? I mean, it's let's be honest, it's weaponized. I mean, come on now, right? Your average lay woman is not gonna be able to defend against an aggressive male without having an equalizer, right?
Yeah, I agree with you 110%.
That whole
And I'm not saying that
industry needs
there are
remodeled.
people out there that can't do it, but
Right.
I'm talking law of averages and the amount of people that actually train.
Yeah.
Like you need, and I mean that for guys as well. Like
Got to have.
I don't care how long you've been training for. Sometimes you're gonna have people that are just too damn big.
Yeah, it's
Or there's
just
just too damn many of them.
yeah, right. No, it's yeah. I mean, it's yeah. Let's do Thursday. But yeah, agreed. It's that whole industry, in my opinion, needs an overhaul. I think there people have really good intentions. I really do. I don't think they're. I don't. But I think a few do it for financial reasons, and they haven't updated. They haven't, evolved. They haven't sought out like what's going on as far as like current events or statistics or new and upcoming methodology. I do believe there is that part of the community, unfortunately, but flip side, I think there's some that have generally good intentions. They just didn't evolve.
Well, I think Hollywood makes people feel really comfortable with a lot of stuff. And what I think is really awesome is when I see people talking about self-defense and then they'll post a video of themselves jogging with earbuds.
And then you're like, well, geez, I guess you're not hearing anything.
It's like, are you joking me? Like you can't hear shit. Like and you're wearing earbuds and you talk about self-defense.
Yeah.
It's like, or yeah. Anyways, I can go on and
I
on. I
couldn't
don't
do
know.
it. It's like people, because I go to gym a lot. People are like, how come you know those? I'm like, can't do it. Like I mean I there's just no way I'm doing that. Like because what is it? I mean I can't. I just,
Like even with one, like even
yeah.
if you just have one earbud in it, it for me, I don't know because I have tinnitus or whatever, but it just I'm not good with that.
No, can't do it. Folks, if you're watching, like, what would you like to see on here as far as like future episodes? We got women's self defense. Um, Ray Flores coming back. Okay, reach out to Maya. Obviously the two Erics, right? But folks, if there's a subject matter or a topic that you would like to see us cover, get somebody on, I mean, please let us know. One of the things I would like to do, we both, me and Nate, both agreed on is Sambo. Like get somebody on there to speak on that. I thought that'd be kind of neat, right? But by all means, questions for either Eric tomorrow, let us know, or future topics. Let me see here. I will definitely come on the show. We got Lori, women's self defense. Bingo. And she's and she plays around with that weapon, so it should be a good one. I've seen her get very violent with fruit. So
That's right.
So
I think one of the things that I want to talk to, like even like Adam or anybody else who's in the SF community, is like weapon retention and stuff like that. There's a lot of the stuff's not,
are you talking about like not just drawing under pressure, but in addition, and also okay.
Yeah, like what was actually one of the freakiest things that ever happened to me is I was holding my daughter when she was younger,
Definitely not.
and she managed to get down to my belt and pull the knife out of my belt.
Ooh.
And I was like, I'm doing something wrong.
That too. Hey. No, that's something. Yeah, because we get tied down to drawing under pressure and then retention, right? We can certainly
Yeah.
cover that. Yeah.
Yeah, or just like even how to carry, because a lot of people carry a lot of like fancy stuff, and they think it's not going to be taken away from them. And as a bouncer,
Mm.
as a former bouncer, I'll tell you right now, there are plenty of times I went to go shake someone's hand and give them my fake hug so I can pull the knife out of their pocket.
Nice. Can you talk about your knife disarmed at Barstool? I love that story. Oh, can you hold on 1 minute?
I believe in
Telling
the
Tracy that. I go, yeah, Renee. Renee. Yeah, this is really funny. Like, guy was saying he's gonna do something, and then Renee says, hold on.
I never saw a reason to engage people with weaponry, right? And again, I worked in some pretty rough places, especially when I was working in the after hours kind of bars. And I'll just tell the story again. It was like last call, and we're letting people know that they got to leave. And this guy's sitting on the couch, and I basically told him, like, dude, it's time to go. And he smashed his bottle, and he was like, I'm not getting the fuck out of here. And he just went on and on. I was like, no problem, man. It's all good. And I took 2 steps back, and I grabbed a metal bar stool, and I just hit him across the head with it.
I understand. I would have been like that classic. No, I understand. You take your time, no problem.
I'm not going to engage that. That's crazy, Or
Oh,
we had a
yeah.
general rule with our team. Like if someone were to if we're talking to somebody and they grab their bottle, and if they went past their ear, that person would get knocked out.
Yeah, you're not gonna wait for it to come flying at your head, right?
Oh, no.
I mean, geez,
No.
yeah.
No, it's like, and it could be something like, I'll finish this beer when I want to. It's like, you just finished your beer.
Yeah. It would be interesting too, bringing on like Brent. He's WPM. Brent, like law enforcement. Like you guys were on one time. Like you maybe have him dial in on certain things. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure bouncing nowadays is a lot different. Like I still like, man, like, I still have friends of mine that I bounced with when I was in my 20s that are still bouncing now. And yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's a lot, man. That's 20 years of doing that. Oh,
Oh, 10 years was enough for me. And it'd be kind of funny to see how, things have changed. Because especially now, even here in Canada, like, there's a lot more firearms involved than before. Like, there was a lot of knives when I was younger, and there was the odd time you have a firearm, but people are, from what I'm seeing, there's a lot more people nowadays who are willing to use a firearm.
Yeah, I mean, but we're seeing that, right? I mean, we see that here in the States. I mean, just the overall breakdown of morale, ethics, and just society. And hopefully, we're gonna get back some of those lines. You know what I mean? I mean, I hope so, just for humanity's sake. But yeah.
I would love to. I would love to say yes, but I just don't see it right now.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be an immediate transformation, but I do think I think some good changes are going to come our way. I do.
The world's gone crazy, Dean.
No, I had, yeah, and
I
think
went to
it's
my
just
parents' house today, and I found a 30-foot boat parked in my driveway.
Oh, by the way, there's a 30-foot boat down there, and I drilled some holes in there. Like,
blew my mind. So just like to let you guys know, so I'm working on my folks' house. My dad had passed away. My mom lives in Spain, so our house is kind of empty, and we're just kind of like getting ready to rebuild it before I sell it. And I went there this morning, and someone parked a 30-foot boat, 30-foot boat in my driveway. 30-foot boat. I was on the phone with somebody, and they're like, "Renee, you there?" And I was like, "I don't like. What am I seeing right here? There's a 30-foot fucking boat in my driveway." And I called the police because I'm getting it towed out, and they're like, "There's a what, sir?" And I'm like, "There's a 30-foot."
Well, they just know that you're accommodating and that you probably won't mind them parking it there for a while.
Oh, God. Anyways, 30-foot boat, Eric Naus.
Yeah, 30-foot boat, Eric Naus, woman self-defense.
Metal chair in
guy's head. At somebody's head.
Yeah. And that's not half of it. Yeah, definitely, I think we should have a bouncing show because some really good stories.
Oh my God, we can get Fritz. So Fritz, he's bouncing now. That's Eric's friend in Florida.
Okay.
And we can bring it. We can bring Fritz out. Yeah. I'm going to be seeing Eric and Fritz actually in a couple of weekends.
Which Eric is that?
O'Brien.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing too I wanted to bring up. I can now the fact that I'm part of this podcast has given me. I now have the rights where I can now invoke meh.
It's so liberating, isn't it? I love it when people are like, "I just reached level 14 of this system," and I just put a meh, and I just like leave it at that. And because it's, I guess I've done it long enough that people realize I'm joking. But in the beginning, people
imagine a new person. He's so proud and
you suck.
And they're just get like just so broken. I mean, like everybody's coming with these wonderful comments and all that, and then.
So actually, Dean, like, who would you like to see on the show that you haven't had before?
Well, when Tom Sodas interviewed me for the 500 episode, folks, yes, I did 500 episodes. I'm just saying, man. I would, Peachy, like, I really thought she should have came on just because considered a matriarch of FMA, the female leader there. In the beginning, I was entertaining the thought of Leo Gahe. David Gould, I thought he really should have came on and still do. But those three are probably Eric Naus, obviously, but sounds like we got that cured. But But Peachy and David Gould were probably those two. Yeah.
Did you ever have like Doug Mercada and stuff on, or?
I had Doug. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Doug, that was a big one. Definitely had Doug on. Yeah.
I spoke to him, I think it was like yesterday, and I said, "Hey, would you ever come on the show?" Because I've been kind of going through everybody I know and just saying,
yeah. No, I definitely. But he's certainly back on me. Just his whole show and et cetera, right? You know. Nice seeing. Gotta go. Okay. Yeah. Definitely. I will definitely, absolutely be in touch with you, Lori. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, but I obviously, certainly could bring him back on. I mean, there would be no shortage to talk to him, right? I mean, I would love to see background stuff like training methods, injury prehab, rehab, long-term training goals, strength, cardio, mobility, stuff like that. Not necessarily fighting, but all the stuff we need to do to be optimal at fighting. Yeah, that's a great topic, Badger Jones.
yeah, and this, hey, listen, like there's a lot of us that are in our, older years of fighting that still are doing it.
So long-term training goals. Training goals.
I think like Badger is a YouTube channel that I think has gotten close to like 1 million views on.
That's yeah, I love his staff stuff.
Yeah, he's got that. He's got his cosplay stuff there, and I think in one of the channels he dresses like an elf and gives people advice. I'm not really sure what's going on with that, but
we can cover that if you want to.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
We can bring Badger on. That would be fun. Badger would always be fun. Yeah, I love his staff stuff. Yeah, him and Burton's.
And that's a really cool thing. Like
Warden too.
Like Badger's like an accomplished martial artist, and he's like really good at what he does. And I think in the 10 years that I taught in Ottawa, he never missed a seminar. He's always been there, and I always thought that was really cool. Like to see someone who's at his level, like still come out and hang out and deal with my insanity.
I have to. I took his. I remember his video there. Do you do what on the staff? And that's something I give full credit to him. Playing around with. So, yeah, we could absolutely bring him on. Yeah,
he's got another video. It's 2 guys, 1 stick. That's pretty awesome too.
Yeah, we find a place for Catherine. Catherine, she's a gun gal. She might be interesting. That would be fun to bring her on within dealing with just the gun community, right?
Yeah.
Licensing and responsibility and et cetera, right?
Yeah, it's the one thing. After I got firearms, I realized how shit I was at them and how much training I needed.
I regret I just never I never shot a gun. This is why I don't teach disarm, because I just tell people go to a gun person, man. I'm not a gun person. You know what I mean? I'm just honest, but it's something I wish obviously it's not too late. I could certainly still do it. But it's something I wish I had done earlier. The whole.
What are your gun laws in Connecticut, anyways? Are they like?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get the permit. It's got to be somebody that's recognized. You get the permit, and then once you get the permit, then you can, you have the license carry, but it's not open carry in Connecticut, concealed. Yeah.
So you can get a CCW out there.
I'm pretty confident. Don't call me out. I just know there's no open carry like there is in some of the southern states. Yeah, no open carry. I've been in some of the southern states, and you see folks going around open carry. It's kind of wild. Like Mississippi, open carry. Yeah. Connecticut is definitely not an open carry state. No.
Back in the early 2000s and late 90s, Canadians can get a CCW to carry in the U.S., which I thought was pretty crazy.
But yeah, in your own country, it's
illegal. There's I don't think there's any CCWs in Canada unless your life's in danger by whatever.
Right.
I heard something crazy, there's 5 CCWs in Canada, sort of thing.
Obviously, but obviously hunting and
all that stuff is cool.
Yeah.
But they just before amazing prime minister left.
You guys got to be so happy up there with that. There's
Yeah.
a discussion. We can kind of go into the political arena and its relation to weapon
maybe I
laws.
can get Justin Trudeau on the show. It'd be great.
I don't know how you got. I still can't figure out how. Everybody talked to in Canada, there's not a single person that I talked to in Canada that liked that guy. And I'm like, how do you get elected? There's not a single person I talked to like that guy.
Yeah, when the same people that voted for you want you out, then that's a sign.
It's like, how is he? Yeah, like I tell you, just listening to him made me ill. Yeah. For Florida, it's constitutional carry. It still must be concealed, but does not require a permanent license. Okay, thanks, Fritz. Okay. Yeah, gun laws. I'm not. That might be interesting. Yeah.
It's
I got
funny,
one soon. I got
I was in a particular state where I went to a gun store, and at the time I was looking at a SIG, like a 320, because I was considering purchasing it here in Canada, and I went to their store, and the guy was like, "Do you want to try it out?" Like, we have a range out back, and the range is basically, he opened up the door. It was like a field with some cans and whatnot.
Yeah, I got a range back here.
and I shot like a mag out, and it was hilarious. The guy was like, "So you want to take it with you?" And I was like, "I'm a foreign national. Like, I'm not allowed to buy firearms." And the guy just looked at me. He's like, "Do you want it or not?" And for a second, I was like,
Gosh. Hey, but I gotta go get the boy. But this has been fun. So, guys, tomorrow night, 7:00 each time. Eric
"Yeah,
now.
this is about Eric Knaus, not Justin Trudeau or hitting people with chairs or any of the other stuff."
I mean, oh my gosh, that was so funny. I'll never forget you telling me that story. I was just like, gosh, I share that story with everybody. Oh, I understand. You can sit there on your couch. I get it. That's like some mob stuff. Like, oh, I understand.
It's funny. It's almost like I want to bring, have a reunion with some of my old bouncer friends. And they always they laugh about two stories. One's when I kept popping my mouth guard in my mouth when people would talk to me. And the other one was with that chair. And one of the guys was like a vice principal at a school. I remember the look on his face was like,
yeah, that's classic. That's for sure. But all right, you can use the same link for tomorrow.
Sounds good. All right, folks,
I might download
thank
this
you for
on the
listening to all
channel.
the bullshit.
Yeah, I know. I might put this on the channel. This is folks might enjoy it.
So it's fun.
Yeah. Meh.
Yeah. Who cares? All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, folks. Hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow. Please, if you have questions for Eric or anything you'd like to see in the future, I mean, please don't hesitate to message me or Renee. I get a lot of messages during the day, so send them Renee. Hint, hint. See you tomorrow.